average time to I love seeing the form average time to complete is like 10 seconds, like speed running this.
Oh, resend. Okay, nice, good, nice resend.
Okay, everyone.
Please fill in the form.
Nice.
Cool. All right, well then in that case, thanks everyone for coming to today's annual general meeting for 2021. This meeting has a few different things that we're going over. Most notably, we'll be doing the President's Report, followed by the Delegate Report, followed by Treasurer's Report, followed by the Director's Report, constitutional amendments, and then most excitingly, the 2022 executive election results. I think that's the agenda for today. So in that case, let's get started with the Co-Presidents Report. Michael, do you want to just take the first slide and we'll alternate?
Yeah, sure. Oh, there we go. That's a picture of us. You can see it's the same background for me, but anyway, moving on.
Cool. So
Yes.
As the executive team this year, we had 4 main visions. I'm not going to read them all out loud, but essentially it boiled down to inclusive environments, building connections, integrating international students, and being transparent and honest with our team.
And accompanying those visions, we had some principles we wanted to go by. So the first was transparency. We wanted to be as transparent as possible, but to like within our team and also to the external community. That's why we did stuff like town halls and publish diversity sets. Feedback, so we've tried to have a feedback form for as many events because if we want to hear from you. Inclusivity, so we want to be inclusive to like international students, postgrads, people of diverse backgrounds, and innovation, which means think new stuff.
Cool. And while visions and principles are good, they don't really do much if we don't have tangible goals that we should try to strive for. So as a team of all the executives this year, we put together a series of, I think, 6 major goals. Each of them had a series of subpoints. The biggest one for us, or the number one, was to build social and academic professional connections between CSE students. So for this, we had a series of different metrics we used to determine if we were successful with this. And as you can see, for the most part, we were pretty successful, especially the Discord server. Our goal for the end of the year was to have 2,000 verified members by December. It's currently middle of October and we're already at 2,900 verified members. So that's been a really great success for us. We're really proud of that one. We didn't reach the weekly communicators, although we're very, very close, averaging around 400, where our goal was 500. Why is 980 1,000 a tick, but 3,000? Yeah, look, it's close enough.
Significant figures.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. The other thing is we also want to be inclusive to everyone. So to that end, we've done stuff like have pronouns on our platforms when we can. So in Discord, you can take a role to get like a he pronoun or her pronoun or they pronoun or get a custom role. Also do events with other societies to, I guess, target events towards different demographics. So we've done stuff with societies like we're doing a pride in engineering event and stuff like that. Also in terms of goals, we want to just
Go back.
Yeah. There we go. We want to reach more to international students. So we've done that by setting up a WeChat account. Thanks, Cecilia, for your huge help on that, by the way, which has, I believe, a couple hundred users.
More on that later.
Yeah. And one more just events in general towards international students, such as helping them find a job.
The 4th goal we had was to build and focus our team culture around honesty and transparency. This is a really important thing for us. We wanted to be transparent across the board internally. This is something that CSESoc has sort of made large strides towards in past, and I think this year we did a really good job with that. Our feedback forms got pretty good satisfaction rates from those that were actually filled out. Internally, the culture was really good. We tried to have one-on-ones with directors that we could. We tried to actually be present amongst subcom meetings and subcom events and road trips, etc. So yeah, it was pretty good. We're glad that we met those goals.
Oh yes, and lastly, in terms of, we also wanted to get a bigger media presence in general. So a lot of this is taking credit for media's work. Although there was some like crosses, we got pretty close. So we did want to put all our events online, recordings of events online if possible. So that didn't always happen, but most of the time it was a little out of our control. And we have more media traction. We have a lot more subscribers to the YouTube channel. more Instagram followers, although we did not quite meet our goal, but it is still a big increase over last year. And lastly, we wanted to do some events targeting different demographics. So for example, having a sports day. Oh, did I misread that? Yeah, no, different interest demographics. So having like sports days and hackathons, and also running a charity initiative. And we hopefully the next year we'll also build on these goals and do bigger and better stuff.
Cool. As for the changes that we made this year, there was quite a few things that we did. We revamped the Discord server. There was thousands of members that joined as a result. The community Slack got unfortunately killed. Sorry to last year's execs. We added the opportunities form because we found that there was not enough opportunities for students, given the Facebook group had very restrictive rules about who could actually post opportunities to students. Only our sponsors could do that. So we added a way for non-sponsors to promote opportunities to students, because at the end of the day, students should deserve to get as many opportunities as they can. We did internal diversity census almost and put it on our website to be transparent with that. The JODS board pushed out. We got the Discord bot pushed out. Is there more on this slide?
A couple more.
Oh yes.
Okay.
We had Twitch streams. We bought a new drone. CompClub spin-off, which is more coming up later. Next.
There we go. Yeah, that's it.
So many
Oh
clicking.
no, there's more. We
This
added.
is- yeah,
Yeah.
this is the next slide. So
I'm trying to
these are
click through
internal
this.
changes. So we added an internals director. Hello, Anthony. We added 2 student directors, but they decided to rename themselves to student experience directors. We added a second workshops director. Hello, Colin and James. I can't figure out which one's the second one. And we also changed internally. We went from what did we use? I forgot.
Trello.
We used Trello.
Trello.
Yeah, that's it. We killed the Trello because it was going to cost us a lot of money, and we decided to use Airtable instead. We have a big internal Discord server, which makes it like communication a lot easier rather than having a ton of different messenger group chats. And we had a big brain day where we decided to like think of new ideas to have a refresh in the middle of the year, and we got incorporated.
Finally.
Which means, sorry.
Finally.
Yeah, finally. It was a project several years in the making, and it means that we can't get sued personally. Only CSESoc gets sued, which is great if you're an exec and you're not personally liable for tens of thousands of dollars. And unfortunately, we lost SOCs, our office in K17.
Cool. Now for some big fancy statistics, and I want to really point out here, this is all just me and Michael taking credit for the amazing work that all of our directors and subcom have done. So we had over 100 events, we had over 40 media articles, podcasts, and videos, 32 sponsors, 400,000 Discord messengers, 190 volunteers across directors, subcom, execs, peer mentors, open day volunteers, etc. We had 40,000 YouTube views. I think we had about 3,000 hours of YouTube time watched, 350 YouTube subs this year, and over 300 high school students reached and still being reached. I think there was a workshop today, an hour ago. There's 374 hoodies ordered. I think and more face masks. Yes, face masks are pretty cool. We were above and on the trend before anybody else. So thanks to our amazing creative directors on that one. And
Yes. But despite all that, it's just one community, one team and one community. There we go. There's the cringe line away.
Cool. So as for the good stuff this year, we had all of our stats go bigger. This is mostly due to the fact that CSE enrollments are just larger in general. Peer mentoring had a huge number of success, and you'll hear about that more when it comes to the student experience directors. Hackathon bigger than ever, sponsorship was bigger than ever, team sizes were bigger than ever, coding comps were great. We raised a lot of money for charity live streams. Our marketing stats were through the roof. It was crazy. And of course, our Discord was amazing. Sorry, Kai, I didn't make this these dot points animate.
Yes, so some things could have been better. Trimesters, I'm pretty sure, was on these slides every year. Always a bit of a pain because the breaks are so short. We could have had more volunteers. I think a lot of the team experienced a bit of burnout. And we definitely had the demand. We got a lot of applications, so it was unfortunately we had to turn away quite a few really great applicants. So sort of, I guess, fix that issue where doing stuff like adding leads for next year so that we can expand the team and hopefully most people don't die. As well as, whoops, can you go back a bit? Yes, there we go. Lockdown was sad. It ruined a lot of our plans. We were planning stuff like Cam 2.0, but that all got shuttered by the lockdown. And the last sort of thing to improve was just too many stuff. Since we're doing like 100 events a year, it's hard to organize marketing stuff without making it look a bit spammy because it's just so much stuff. So event fatigue is, I guess, it's a bit of a suffering from success thing, but you know, it's a problem.
Yeah, so that's lockdown in a nutshell, or 2021 in a nutshell. I think this is the next slide.
Oh,
There we go.
hold on.
It's also our 15th year. So we're a 15-year-old. How cool is that? And as part of that, we won an award.
Mhm.
So it says 2006 to 2021. We're still alive though. But I think most of the other people are alive too, like Hayden. And that's it. Bye.
Yay. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, sweet.
Yeah, okay.
So we mentioned our WeChat account. Oops. Oh, this keeps popping up, Michael. Your animation blocking. Okay, it's 229 subscribe members, and it looks like this. So I just found it on my phone and just scroll all the way down. So Cecilia made all of that, every single post, and that was not it. This is like an 11 seconds video. Those are the stats. Yeah. So huge shout out to Cecilia for doing all that. One person for the entire marketing team. Yeah, thanks. Okay, next. That's my delegate report.
I believe before we move on, we do have to vote to formally accept the CoPres report.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I move that we accept the CoPres report. Anyone want to second that?
I'll
second
second that we move to accept the co-president's report.
Cool.
How should we vote?
Just do.
You can do it by objection.
Yes.
Does anybody object?
Anyone object?
Yeah, just raise your hand.
Are there any objections?
Wait, Clarence, you.
Oh, what? I got moved to the front. Oh no, I don't want to be at the front.
Okay, well,
Okay, no objections.
a strict
So,
majority did not object, so we'll pass
Yes.
it. Cool.
Yeah.
we also have to accept the apologies. There were no apologies.
Do we accept there were no apologies? I move to accept that there were no
I'll second
apologies.
Any objections?
I love bureaucracy.
Cool. Okay, it's accepted.
Yay.
Cool.
Okay, I
Sorry,
guess
Kai,
that's
back
all
to you.
Yeah, no worries. So we made a lot of forms today. So this year, there are 68 forms in total. Yeah, every form this year I made them have with a banner in the background, so it looks a lot better than just a plain form. And one example looks like this, so it's pretty cool. And there's only 2 questions. Someone make an extra form. 69. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I have to shout out to Creative for making all those banners for sure. And yeah, I cut down the number of questions to only 2 tick boxes and just using the emails people use. People log into Outlook. And as an art delegate, our O week, which is amazing. This is term 1 O week. That was actually in person and as well as on Discord. And thanks to our bunch of volunteers, Gary, Edwina, and Haley here, and many more. And term 2 and term 3 O weeks are fully online. So I didn't take a picture. It's the same as the Discord. Okay, SCDG. We only applied for 1 SDG this year. That was first year camp. I started writing the SDG for CompClub Rural Trip, but then it got canned because of lockdown. So that one actually didn't finish. That's just like a cover that I made. And I applied for 4.5K because that's what we did last year, but I only got 1.9, which is unfortunate, but still something. But overall, counting all the events grants, that's 5K in total. And Treasury Report will have a lot more than to say about that. do we need to accept
Yes.
this one?
We do.
Okay.
So I move that we accept the Delegate Report.
I second.
If you have any objections, please raise your hand. Cool. The motion passed. Up to you, onto you, Jamin.
Hello. Okay, so Treasurer's Report. Yes, so that's the theme this year, budget approved. Okay, so expenditure summary. So we've spent, we spent around 72K in total this year. There's a lot more coming up as well with Socktail and a coding competition, workshops with planning. And so we can see in all the different categories, we have socials and special events spent about 37K, and then development 2.3, no, it's actually it's actually 230 something, but that and then careers 5.7, so that's for the hackathon, and then content branding 5.2K, other 24K, and I'll go into all of these in the next few slides. Okay, so socials expenditure. So camp, we spent around 31K in pure expenses. So in comparison, I think it's like around 10K less than last year. And then barbecues, a lot more than last year. They only spent like a couple $100. So we have 3.5K. Socials events, so these are the tickets and any food or activities that we've spent on for social events. And internals, so that's just internal bonding. That's probably going to increase as well. And then Socktail, $0 for now. But by the end of the year, it will likely be more. Okay, let's move on. So the development, oh yeah, this is the actual number, 222.23. So the projected total has a 2.2K increase because the workshops has a coding comp, and they're going to put in 2.2K into the prize pool. And so projects and workshops have spent very little as of now. Okay, let's move on. Careers expenditure, so that's just 5.7K, mostly just hackathon, and also all the prize money. So that's been given out. So all the prize money that's been given out, as well as any gifts for mentors and so on. Yeah, okay, let's move on. Content and branding, media 5K. So that's an insane increase from last year, which was around 1K. So that's almost, yeah, that's 5 times increase. So they spent a lot on new equipment, and they'll probably talk about it in their later slides as well. Marketing has spent very little as of now, but they'll mostly spend on advertising and so on. Yeah, and creative has also spent very little as of now. And then team treats 5.3K. So that's all the team treats that we have spent on in our team. It's not actually, it's just the raw expenses. So it doesn't include money that people have paid back from team treats. So this is just, yeah, it's just the raw expenses for team treats. And then we have 2020 rollover expenses. So expenses that rolled over from last year, 682. And then admin. So we spend a lot on admin. So for example, any team, so anything that needs to be bought for everyone to use. So for example, the small things would be the hand sanitizer and the gloves. And then the bigger things would be subscriptions for Slido and for things that everyone can share and admin, yeah. And then merch sales. So we have 13.4, so 13.5K of merch sales. So this is including, so this is for hoodies and masks. Yes, so that's a lot. Okay, income summary. So we have a couple categories. We have art grants, sponsorship, sales and event revenue, interest, other. So art grants, very self-explanatory. I'll just go over other because I don't have a slide for that. Other is basically the income that we got from the school CSE. So they sponsored our coaches. So that was around 3.5K, I think, or 3K. Coaches for camp. So all the buses for camp. And then it also includes, something, oh yeah, director contributions. So basically this balances out the team treats. Yeah. So there's around 3K of 3 or 4K of director contributions, which is basically the team treats was spent, but then people paid us back that much money. Yeah. So let's move on. So our grants, event reimbursements were 3.1K. That's an insane increase from last year. So kudos to Kai. Last year was only about 1.7K. So it's like almost doubled. And SEDG grants, so 1.9. Okay, let's move on. So merch sales, we have 12.3. So that leaves us, if you remember.
What is this?
If you remember from the previous slides, the expense. So the expenditure for merch was like 13K, but we only got 12K. So we've lost about, so we made about like an 800 loss on merch, but that's supposed to be expected because all our merch is heavily subsidized so that we can get more for everyone. So it's just for our.
How did I get this pointer? I didn't know.
Stop moving.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. And then cash sales. So that's the cash sales for the merch. So in total, that'd be around 13.67K for merch sales.
Oh, let me just close my tab.
Okay, camp admission 24, so 25K. Our camp admission this year is a lot higher than last year's. Last year, our camp admission was actually no, it's similar. It's just a little bit higher. So it was 24.5K last year. And then socials income. So this is just ticket refunds. And then careers. So careers 2.5K, that is all the prize money that the sponsors gave us. So it's about 1K and 1.5K from IMC, and actually no, 2K from IMC and 500 from Prosper. Okay, let's move on. So the summary that you've all been waiting for. 72K expenditure, total income is around 109. And then the net change is a 41K increase. So our starting balance was 75K. Our current balance, as of last night, very, very recent, it is 116K. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. And then projected closing balance. So our projected closing balance is a lot lower, as you can see, than our current closing balance, because we will be, so Socktail, we have 15K budget for that. So it's going to go down really quickly. And then that also includes the coding competition prize money, 2.2K. We're expecting to spend 2 to 3K on merch this year as well. That hasn't yet been spent. So that also added in. And quite a lot of unfinished expenses because, our society does not end today. And so there will be more throughout the rest of this year. And then you can see, can you go back, please? Okay, so our total expenditure, currently it is less than last year's by 1.3K, but it will be greater than last year's by like 20K once we're done. And then total income has increased by 2.7K, and the net change has increased by 7.6K. Yeah. So yeah, let's not get obsessed with capital. I'm much better at lowercase. Okay. Okay. And then let's move on. So highlights media equipment 5K that includes a drone, which is really cool. And so we have some really cool media footage with drone, and then also a lot of cameras and lighting and mics and everything to make next year's media quality and content a lot better. And then let's move on. And then sponsorships, 57K. Last year was about 52. And so we've increased this year again, and hopefully we can keep the trend up, but it doesn't matter too much because we have a lot in savings. So we have a lot in saving. Oh, as you can tell, we'll still have a lot in savings next year. And so we have that to fall back on, and we will be able to, if the recovery period for COVID is not great, then we can still rely on funds from this year and all the previous years. Okay, so things to improve on: better record keeping. So instead of what we currently have, so currently we just have a reimbursements form on Google Forms, and we've been planning to change it for years now, but it hasn't changed, but it's something the next treasurer can do. So instead of a Google form, they could create a new just expense payments platform, or just like reimbursements platform, just like a site. And there has been an MVP for that. And then better inventory and distribution system. So currently the inventory is just kept tracked by creative or anyone who is handling all the inventory. And perhaps we could have a central management system for that. And it also depends on how much, because we're planning on getting more and more merch, so it will make that a lot more viable. So currently we just have everything recorded on Google Sheets, and like with no revision history, or very little revision history, and verification, stuff like that. So that's something that can be improved. And then a better payment system. So currently for all of our major events, we just do bank transfers to the society bank account, which is then processed by the treasurer. Oh, I forgot to mention, we had 497 lines of transactions that I processed this year. That's a fun fact. So a better payment system, but it's something that is a bit hard to change. We've been thinking about it. So for background, we don't have a credit card, we don't have PayPal, but we could potentially get a PayPal, but it'll just require a little bit more effort, I think, because currently, apparently, the CSE bank account has already too many account owners on PayPal. And then better spending planning. So we had a huge rush at the end to try and spend more for this year because of lockdown and then not being able to spend as much. So perhaps we could spread it out more throughout the year. And I'm sure everyone would agree as well. Yeah, and that is all. Thank you.
Okay, I move to second.
I move to second.
Any objections?
Oh, something I forgot to mention is we have been planning to support. So we've been planning to support more disadvantaged students by setting up a fund for our major events. And that's something that we will be doing for Soctail as well, probably. And we just haven't been able to do it because there have been no events since we decided that. Yeah.
Cool. I guess motion passed then. Awesome.
Yay.
Thank you, Jamin. I believe what comes next is a bunch of director reports.
Yes.
As we've mentioned, we've taken a lot of credit for the things that amazing directors and Subcom have done. So we'll take the time now to go through each sort of team and what they've worked on specifically, some of their biggest achievements, what they wish they could have done better, and plans for the future.
And I believe we start with careers, who are all together named as Cecilia.
Howdy, howdy. All right, well, welcome to the Careers Corner. We're going to start with the bar very high with the best subcom. So for those of you who aren't aware, Careers, we'll start off with just our little mission statement, our goals throughout the year. Careers' main goal is to be the bridge between industry and our student base. And so we try to achieve that through garnishing sponsorship from our industry representatives, and as well as engaging with our sponsors to provide events and initiatives like our hackathon, IMP, and generating Startup Week Careers Pathway Guide, which my lovely co-directors will also speak about in a lot more depth afterwards. Apart from that, we also look to actually fund the society. We do this from the sponsorship, the aforementioned sponsorship, and yeah, we kind of fund most of the society. So yeah, thanks guys.
Into that.
So I guess we will continue and we'll go to the next slide then. Rani, you can take it over from there.
Yeah, so one of the biggest successes this year is we increased 5 sponsors from last year. So 32 sponsors, and we also have a great variety of sponsors as well. We also have sponsors who've reached out to us a lot at the end of the year, who we just haven't been able to take on just because it wouldn't be good enough to them to be like, we don't have any more events that you guys can put on. There's sort of no point. And I think there's about 6 sponsors next year that are sort of really keen to wait for our perspectives and jump on. So lots of sponsors, lots of interest in careers. Lots of interest in CSESoc as a whole. So careers has a lot to do, and looking up in terms of sponsor front. This is also a bit juxtaposed to what we sort of predicted at the beginning of the year, which was that we wouldn't have that many sponsors come up, but like we've got more sponsors than ever and also raised more money than ever. So increase of 3,000 from last year. And yeah, stocks about almost 60K raised. Yeah, which is awesome. Also this year we took on more. Can we go back, Kai? Also this year we took on 2 in-kind sponsors in IBM and Apple because we've saying like these people have a lot of good opportunities to give students. It's just that they don't really fit the usual sponsorship structure. So started that as well. We've also had much more startup sponsors than usual, which was something that last year we wanted to improve on, and we've been able to do and turn that into an event and initiative later on. Yeah, so stocks, and then Kai, you can go next slide. Yeah, so CSESoc without careers and CSESoc with careers. Cool. Next, I'll be passing off to Cecilia to talk about our big events.
So mainly we have 2 big events this year. The first one is hackathon, then the second one is industrial mentoring program. I will switch to Finley to talk about the hackathon.
You just go back and stay on that slide for that. Yeah, so hackathon is one of the flagship events that we run here at CSESoc. I hope that a lot of the people in attendance here were also in attendance at hackathon, but for those who weren't, we took pride this year in being able to offer a lot more in terms of prizes beyond just first, second, and third. We were able to engage a great wealth of knowledge from our sponsors, and I think raised quite a great question. It was good fun, and I think despite the challenges that a sudden COVID lockdown, or sudden second COVID lockdown, third COVID lockdown, whatever you want, another one brought to us, we were able to run it quite successfully online and still engage both sponsors and students and provide an excellent experience. We also ran the industry mentoring program, which Cecilia will
which Rani will talk about.
Rani will talk about.
Yeah, so if you don't know, this year's industry mentoring program is the biggest that we've ever run it. I think last year we were only able to set around 70 mentees just because of limits on mentorship. But this year we reached out really early. Team was really keen. Got like a lot more mentors, and we've been able to set more than double the amount of mentees. So hopefully giving opportunities to more people and a lot more of the younger years as well, which has been really awesome. Other things as part of that is we've also like spent some more money in industry mentor program. So having like incentives for teams to get prizes and weekly challenges, which is sort of still coming up this Wednesday, where they could like spend and get some coffee and like have a Zoom chat and like order in coffee or something like that. So a lot of changes to industry mentor program, a lot bigger and hopefully better. We'll see than before, which is awesome. Cool. Next to Cici.
Yeah. So this year we also started a couple of two main new initiatives. One, I'd like to shout out to media. careers pathway guide. So this is about, I guess, highlighting lots of different fields that all of our students can do outside of the traditional, software end roles. There are a lot of different cool things out there. So we were responsible for lining up a lot of industry reps from different kinds of fields. And yeah, I think the majority of them became podcasts, but we did have a few articles in there as well. Secondly, another new initiative we did this year is Startup Week.
If you can go next slide, Ty.
Yes, so this was a series of events early in T3, just showcasing, becoming part of a startup, exploring that as part of your career path, whether that's really starting one yourself, working, with one, or, just experimenting a little. So, we collab with UNSW's Entrepreneurial Society with that, AGM for short. And yeah, that was a really fun series of events.
Okay, so just without really going into much detail, we have been through a really productive years, and these are a couple of events that we have run recently. For example, like international student, like intern and grad panel, a day in life, so on and so forth. Can you go through the next? Yeah, and these are all the other events we have run kind of earlier on this year. I don't really love going into details about events because that would take ages. So those are just screenshots to show how productive we are through the years.
Cool. And I also wanted to say that this year we did quite a few collabs across portfolio. So I did mention the careers pathway before. So I won't go into that again. I'm sure they'll talk about it a little bit more. We also did some collabs with workshops, with the T1 IMC coding competition, the T2 personal projects competition, and a coding competition coming up this term, which you'll find more about if it's not out already. And with Studex, there was a bit of collab with what started out as a high tea in-person became something online, a Pride event, and later on this October, 25th of October. And with socials, a couple of collabs. We'd had a rare in-person barbecue with Arista, also an in-person trivia night with Prosper. Yeah, we wanted to have one with Canva, but sadly that was literally just after COVID social restrictions went into effect. So sadly, we did not get to do that. But I wanted to say with this part, it's mostly just taking credit for all the great work some of the other portfolios do in the CSESoc. And in particular, we wanted to give a special shout out to marketing, art, and creative, who pushed through all of our events because we know we had a lot of them. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I suppose it goes without saying, we would not be able to do even a small amount of what we have achieved in the careers portfolio by ourselves. It's very much part in thanks to our beautiful subcom, whose names are listed there. We've been very, very fortunate to have them this year. We've done a series of wonderful social events with them when we could, in person, online when we couldn't. And we're also very proud of how amazing diverse they are, diverse in thoughts, international, gender split, across the whole board. They have made it such an amazing year, and we're very, very thankful to them. I believe that concludes our report then.
Yeah. So, thanks, careers.
Club.
We thank ourselves.
Yeah.
Wow. Welcome to the CompClub Report. So the ongoing meme is that we have two Evan Lees in CSESoc, and we never know who's who, but obviously the one who volunteers for CompClub is the superior one. So anyways, next. Yeah, so you might be wondering who CompClub is, because we don't do anything or that much for UNSW students. So CompClub is CSESoc's high school outreach portfolio. So basically, we run coding workshops for high school students, and our, flagship events are our summer school, our winter workshops, and our rural road trip, along with other school road trips and workshops. Unfortunately, this year we could not run our rural road trip just as we could not run it last year because of COVID. So we're still not over that. We're mourning the loss of Rural Road Trip, but hopefully we can run it next year.
So our vision this year, right, was to redefine what it means to be part of CompClub. It's to establish common ownership between workshop materials and to remove the distinction between our subcom classes. It's to reinforce camaraderie, and it's our vision. Yep, next slide.
Next slide. Yeah, so the ongoing meme is that Evan likes calling CompClub. So it's our club. But yeah, our actual visions for this year was to create some engaging and high quality content for the high school students, to get a variety of levels of experience of students interested in computer science. So that ranges from like students with no experience to like experts, as they say in the NCSS game. So yeah, as well as reaching more diverse rural and underrepresented students. Yeah, we also wanted to connect high school students with UNSW and CSESoc, just to like, get our fingers in there early, get them to UNSW, because we are obviously superior, and also to prioritize subcom. Yeah. Here are a brief overview of the events that we ran this year. We unfortunately couldn't run that many in person, but the ones that we did do were really good. Still mourning the loss of our rural road trip, but anyways. Yeah, and so here are some stats. So over the year, we have reached about 500 high school students from 123 different schools, which is 150% of last year's capacity. And we actually even got students signing up from South Australia, Victoria, Queensland, and Indonesia, which I had no idea about. Like, how did people from Indonesia know about our workshops? I didn't think our marketing was that great, but pretty insane. And we also did a new initiative, the Intro to C workshops, which we actually held this afternoon, which was great. Yeah, and here's our team. Evan, you can
but yeah, none of what Haley mentioned above would have been possible without a team. Going from left to right, it's Aisha, Donald, William, Etkin, Helen, Abraham, Jamie, Paula, and Ben. We just want to say a huge thank you, massive shout out to everyone for putting in so much time and effort to make the events what they were. Definitely couldn't have done it without you guys. And I'm sure the high school students in chat would agree with me. All right, next slide, please. So yeah, we also got mentors. Unfortunately, we couldn't find a picture of everyone, of all of the mentors, but here's a photo of some of the mentors. I actually had to leave early, so I found the best resolution picture of me and managed to put it into the left. Yep. Yep, as Kai is doing, he's circling it. Yep.
Yeah. So some things that we could have done better this year was probably run more school visits at the beginning of the year when we weren't in lockdown, because we were really hopeful that everything was going to be okay. But we should have taken more advantage of the good times. We were planning on go back. We were planning on reviving this CompClub website, but unfortunately that didn't happen this year. So maybe something for CompClub to do next year. And also just better team upskilling, because teaching is like, it doesn't come naturally to everyone. So I think more on that would be good. And also, just don't worry about the memes. It's fine.
That didn't happen at all. What are you talking about?
Okay, next.
So as Shay mentioned earlier, CompClub is having a spin-off. So yeah, it's really not you guys, it's us. I know that line's being used a lot, but in this case, it's actually true. Being our own society would enable us to do a lot more things. And as you can see, this is You should probably take some pointers as well. This is, if you ever want to break up with someone, this is how you should do it. Couples costume idea, and then you just put Edward Scissorhands and Supergirl together. Awesome. Next slide, please. Yeah, well, we did say that we did mean to still be friends after we spun off from CSESoc, and we actually meant this so much that we put it in a legal document, so our constitution, which is available for to the public. Well, it will be very soon, and we will be holding CSESoc and CompClub bonding events for our teams in the future. Next slide, please. So the reason that CompClub is leaving is basically there is a lot of stuff to do. We can have bigger teams to reach more students. We'll be able to reach more diverse audiences. So, more students from Indonesia. We can have more events, more workshops, and we are planning 2 tentative rural trips, which the school has approved the budget for. Yep, next slide. However, as all divorces go, there is, some financial stuff included. So we are going to be relying on CSE for some funding in case the school doesn't provide all of our funding. But yeah, that is basically it for the spin-off. And now we'll pass on to workshops for their report.
Yes, hello. So I guess we're ready to do the workshops then. Hello, everyone. My name is James. I'm one of the workshops co-directors. We haven't quite figured out which one is the second one. So it was mentioned that we got a second director. We don't know who's who. I'll be taking the first bit here. So we're just going to be going over everything we did this year. So enjoy the memes on this slide for a minute, and then we will have a look at the next slide. Yes, go back, please, Kai.
How long is a minute?
Now is a minute. I think that's good enough. So next slide. Thanks. So we're just quickly going to take a look at what we set out to achieve as workshops. So down the bottom, generally, if you want to summarize it in a couple words, we're all things education. So we are the main, I guess, education subcom team here, aside from CompClub, but they deal mostly with high school kids. So we deal with actual UNSW students. So we seek to raise the employability of CSE students by running workshops, competitions, all designed to develop their technical and soft skills. So we might run a workshop that covers a particular development tool that is in demand in the industry or is quite popular, that we think that would be a good thing for students to learn. We also aim to increase the exposure to these technologies. So just recently we ran a workshop on Docker. So Docker is a very hot technology at the moment. So we definitely wanted to bring attention to that. So we ran a workshop on it. And generally we try to focus on things that are not taught in CSE courses, because those are some of the things that the industry wants, but they're not particularly covered in something like Comp 1511 or something. So we exist to fill that gap. So we like to run all of these workshops on things that you might not see if you were just doing CSE courses. And lastly, obviously, because we run workshops, we also like to empower people to actually come present them and also volunteer at them where that's required. So we have quite a few events that require some volunteers. We like to get the community involved, whether they're in CSESoc or outside. We don't care. We want people involved. So we try to enhance their communication skills and teamwork. Obviously, working as a volunteer, you need to be somewhat good at teamwork. So we try to give that opportunity to people in the community. But yep, just to summarize, all things education mostly. Next slide. Thanks. So obviously we do workshops. That's kind of what the name says, right? This is a summary of the first 12. I think these are the first 12 workshops we ran, or the banners for the first 12. But we did a whole lot more. So we're definitely going to be running over 20, definitely over 20. Many more to come. So still a couple more for this term slated, including one this week. And yes, shout out to Creative on all of these banners. So our amazing creative team here has really pulled through with us with all of these banners. Couldn't really do this without them. And also, I guess while I'm here, shout outs to the marketing team and Kai for doing the rest of the promotion and actually getting these workshops out to you guys. Next slide. Yes, and the other thing we do is competitions. So we aimed to run at least one competition every term. We've made good on that promise. In fact, last term we over-delivered. We did 2 competitions. So in term 1, we ran the IMC x CSESoc x CPMSoc coding composition. So we did that with our good friends, the newly formed CPMSoc. That was good fun. That was almost a $2,000 prize pool. So quite a lot of cash up for grabs on that one. So we had quite a lot of signups as well, but we'll get to the numbers a bit later. We also ran a longer term personal projects competition. So this was more intended for people to build something that they could actually show off as, wow, I actually achieved this. And it wasn't just like a 2-hour coding competition. So obviously those projects are in demand. So keeping with our goals of trying to upskill people, we thought that would be a really nice thing to do. And that ran over the span of a term, so quite long term. Towards the end of the term, we ran a revision, I guess, competition kind of thing for Comp 2521. So we called it the Comp 2521 competition. Wait, what is it? I forget. We had so many names. Like when we were deciding the name for this, we got stuck for hours. So I think we finally settled on 2521 competition O of N. I don't know, big pun, and solution traversal. So that was good fun as a more of like a course oriented competition. And finally, coming up very soon, our biggest competition of the whole year, actually in terms of prizes, so over $2,000 up for grabs with this one, is the CSESoc and CPMSoc Programming Contest 2021. So definitely get keen for that. That's next week. Next slide. I'll hand over to Colin now for the rest of this.
Yep, so we achieved some really cool things over this year. Namely, we have, as James mentioned, over 20 workshops run. We also ran our first hybrid online and in-person workshop. And so that was namely the how to make the most out of uni life with Evan Kohelis at the beginning of term 1. We ran at least one competition every term. Thousands of dollars awarded in prizes as part of those competitions. And we had over 150 attendees at our flagship Lab Zero event in 21T1 in person alone, as long as 50 who attended online. Over 200 participants in our 21T1 coding competition with IMC and CPMSoc. And 14 project submissions for our personal projects competition. Yep, next slide. Thanks, Kai. So we wanted to take this chance to give a huge shout out to our team. We wouldn't be able to achieve what I just mentioned without them. So going from left to right, it's Gordon, Alex, Kelly, Sanjana, Michael, and Jasper. We've definitely had an amazing time working with and learning from them over this past year. Some of our improvements that we could make for 2022, more in-person workshops when we're back on campus, knock on wood.
Hopefully that doesn't change.
More hands-on workshops, more short-form digestible content to supplement our workshops, a continued push to diversify our workshop presenters, and some more love for CSE theory. Yep, that's it. Thanks.
Yeah, so it's just a whole bunch of final inside jokes and memes because they were obligatory. So yes, that's all for workshops.
Thanks, workshop. Next is project.
Hello, good evening. Yeah, we are Esther and Zach, and we direct CSESoc's hub for student-led software projects. Next slide, please, Kai. So this year, we put together 6 teams of 5 to 9 students, including team leads, who worked for the year on projects for the UNSW CSE and wider community. So this was the 4th year that projects has run. We had 3 projects carry on from last year and 3 brand new ones, which we will introduce in a sec.
Yeah, so we had a few goals this year. The sort of general overarching projects goals we've been trying to follow is giving students the opportunity to work in large-scale group projects, developing technical and industrial teamwork skills, giving back to the community by developing cool stuff and benefiting people, taking ownership of the things they're working on, not having to be babied around, and really contributing and keeping things to a high standard, and making lots of friends, having tons of fun and learning a whole lot along the way. I think these have been pretty successful for the year so far, and I hope to continue seeing them go forward with that. And also new for 2021, we wanted to experiment around with some new team structures. So we had a team with co-team leads, which has been pretty fun. And like we've had quite a few different sizes of projects teams, and they've all had their own sort of like interesting benefits of that, and it's been really interesting. And also just creating a big cohesive social group who have fun together. Obviously, has been tricky with COVID and everything going on, but the Discord do be popping quite a lot of the time, and people have really sort of bonded a lot, which is quite nice.
So the first project that we'll be talking about is Strux.sh. So this team, led by Tim, and along with Alex, Joanna, Dom, Sam, Rachel, Ragav, and Joseph, created a tool to teach UNSW students data structures and algorithms with a custom-built visualizer, curated quizzes, code, and resources.
We've got Circles. So this was co-led by James and Jen. And the team members were Vincent, Gabriella, Sano, Sally, Kevin, Adam, and Isaac. And Circles is an awesome project that was birthed out of more of like a hackathon project made by a few of them. And it has really like been born into this whole application, and it's looking great. And we're really excited to see what continues to come out of it. It's a degree planner, by the way.
Next up, we have Free Rooms. So this was led by Manjun, along with Grace, Sarah, Damien, Kesh, and Kesh. So yeah, this was a web app to list vacant rooms on campus that you can use to find study spots or rooms for society events. So yeah, very handy once we are back on campus.
And we've got Discord bot. So that's led by Waleed and has Jack, Maria, Ollie, Camus, Sanyam, and Rifa in the team. It was birthed out of the death of Slackbot when we had the big move to Discord. And so it has a lot of features to sort of help our community, you know, have tools and participate and engage with each other, and has been a really fun thing for people to play around with and to work on. Yeah, rip Slackbot.
Next up, we have the website/website CMS team, led by Matt, with Priscilla, Jackie, Varun, Hanyuan, and Nathan. So this is an interesting one. It's been a long meme of CSESoc not having a website, despite being a CSE society full of web developers. But this team is here to change that by trying to create a really robust and long-term solution to our website needs. So yeah.
And then finally, we have Note Angles, or as I prefer to call it, Not Angles, which is led by Luke and has Abram, Emily, Andrew, Ollie, Mayhack, and Martin. And Note Angles has been around for a while at this point, birthed out of Bojangles and all the other cross angles is the other one, whatever, you know, all the different angles. And they've been working to sort of like improve a lot of things around the code base, introduce cool new features, social timetabling. They've been working on auto timetabling. And they've been doing a great job sort of maintaining things and continually improving it.
So yeah, this year has been a pretty productive year for projects. So we had our biggest ever subcom recruitment drive, I believe, in CSESoc history. We had a 220% increase in the number of applications from last year. So yeah, lots of interest in our projects. So yeah, big props to the team leads for getting their projects ready for recruitment. We also had lots of progress. Sorry, lost that guy. Yeah, we had lots of progress in our projects. So at this point, we have 3 projects deployed, which you can go check out yourselves, and yeah, 2 of them were nearly deployed this year, and we have 3 more projects that have their MVPs very close to being completed. And yeah, and everything that we've talked about is absolutely no credit to us. It is all in the hands of our hardworking 7 team leads and 35 team members, especially the team leads who took charge of upskilling, managing, and bringing their teams together pretty much from scratch, and they all collaborated and helped each other out, and yeah, made some really powerful and awesome teams.
When you said 7 team leads, my brain heard 17 leads, and I was like, oh my God, when did we get all that? Okay. So we also have a few things to improve. Something we also could have improved is mentioning we're going really quick here. Shrey, I seen Shrey is sort of alluding to this. We're moving really quick through this presentation because we're going to have a end of year projects showcase after T3 exams. We'll look at that in a second, but that's going to be very cool. We have some things to improve. Everyone who's sort of seen projects tangentially has seen the infrastructure woes. It famously has incredibly complicated infrastructure that's been a nightmare to manage. And we can do things to try and cut down on the complexity there because it's really very unnecessary. Our subcom recruitment was insane. We had so many applications. And it was very tricky to try and get through all of them. We might have to look at how we can restructure things to try and make recruitment less stressful and just sort of a better process. More togetherness and support in upskilling and handover. So there has been some issues this, in our session at least, where it's tricky getting people into these new projects because they can be very big and use lots of technologies, and often students who are working on them are sort of just getting started in their big programming career. So upskilling can be really tricky. So it's smiley, nice. And so we want to see what we can do to try and improve that process and give people sort of their best project experience we can, and trying to improve the emphasis on delivery as well. It's always really sad to sort of come to the end of a project year and have done a lot of work but not really have something concrete to be able to show and say, look, here's what I did. So really focusing on the aspect of delivery, and even if it's not a working product, just like here's something we can show to show what we've done, is really meaningful. And so we want to continue to emphasize that.
Yeah, as Zach mentioned, we sped through those project intros, and that's because today was only but a taste of what our project teams have done. So they will be showing off all their progress in our annual project showcase after exams this term. So please do come along to support the teams, learn what it's like to work on a project, and check out all this awesome stuff that's been implemented. Especially highly recommend coming along if you're interested in joining one of these teams next year. Details will be on the CSESoc Facebook very soon, so keep an eye out. And yeah, that'll be it from projects. So thank you, everyone. Shout out once again to our project teams, and see you all at Showcase.
Yeah, cheers all.
Thanks, projects. Next is creative.
Okay, hello. We can go to the next slide. But yeah, so it's the creative report. So over here, we've got some formal text. It might be a bit boring, but so what is the creative team? So the creative team, we've been responsible for basically all the banners, the videos, all the branding, the artistic directional guides and notes and slides. So we've really been one of the busy bees this year. There's like this one whole set of CSESoc with like socials, careers, workshops, and then all of the events go through us. We're like a single chokehold in the entire CSESoc pipeline, and then we spit out a cool banner and all of that stuff. So yeah, so what was our goal this year? Oh yeah, it's fine. Oh, people can read it. I don't think it's that interesting. But yeah, so I think most portfolios mentioned their subcom last or somewhere in the middle, but we want to say it like really early on. So I want to say huge thank you to the events and merch team. So they're responsible for all the amazing illustrations that you guys have been seeing, and also the videos team. And so they've been working on those epic animations and also real life videos. And this is us, at the end, the directors. But yeah, so that's our team, that's our group structure. So here's events and merch. I think Sandeep wants to go through this.
So events and merch this year, what we did differently is we actually combined the two teams. So originally there were two separate teams, and we found that combining the teams led to a better spread of workload. Usually merch is more cyclical, and like the workload can like change throughout the year, and events is more consistent. So we thought that combining would help, and we found out that it did, at least for this year. Next slide.
Ooh.
Yep, so this is one of 4 slides. Basically over the year, we have like an estimated 140 plus banners, and I've just chucked them all into these 4 slides. It's really cool to actually like take a step back and like actually look at all these. This is like an overview of CSESoc for the whole year. And it's just like really cool to see everyone's work on screen. And then you have to consider the fact that like each of these banners like take a while to make as well. So like a huge shout out to the team. And this isn't even everything. There's like hoodies, there's like merch, which I'll describe later. And there's also like the videos, banners and stuff. Like we'll go into that in more detail in a subcom wrap up, but like just for now, I just want to say like massive shout out to subcom. Like we wouldn't be able to do anything without you guys. Next slide.
Okay, yeah. Someone complained I was speaking too fast. Oh, the video's loaded. But yeah, so here are videos. I'll go for it. Oh yeah, you can play it. There's also videos, but yeah. But yeah, you have to play it. So this was one of the videos that we made for Camp 2.0, which didn't come out, but hopefully we can reuse it because I think it's really cool. But yeah, look at that. Oh, I had to make it 360p because I couldn't upload it otherwise because the drive was like complaining. But yeah, so if we zoom back out, so oh wait, before we play that, I just want to show the other ones. So top right, we have like an Instagram page. Another one's like an April Fool's one. This was this CSESoc CTF. Yep.
very low res, but you know, it was higher res before I had to compress it. And we've even got some stuff for 2521, so like an animation of AVL trees and like CSESoc annual hackathon, you know, one of our flagship events. Almost as flagship as, next slide, is it? I don't know. Yes, okay, yep. CSESoc's flagship event, which also happens to be our flagship event. So we had almost 400 pre-orders. It was an ARC award-winning design. We offer custom personalization, and it's high quality for the low price of $35, which we've been really happy with since other societies do it a bit more pricier. But yeah, so that's the design. That's the ad that we used for the pre-order. But some improvements that we could have done this year was to get marketing out earlier for winter, so people can actually wear it when it's cold. And so some other things was design was subjective, a bit depending on submissions. I think this was a bit more for like the next year's directors. But yeah, and the other thing was to also have more accurate mockups, because sometimes it was a bit hard to see like, hey, how would the hoodie turn out if it was printed on like a blue or a pink hoodie, you know, would it stand out? Yeah, that was really it. Oh, and I think there's a link in the chat to vote for it. Oh, but yeah, so hoodie delivery. There was COVID this year. And so rather than, you know, like having a pickup at uni, we did have to deliver it through post. So there's lots of deliveries. But once lockdown is over, you know, be on the lookout for free pickup soon. And a shout out to Sandy. I don't know why he removed the dot point. But yeah, huge shout out to Sandy for being the one to like literally hold 400 hoodies in his home and do all of the posts individually. There's also more memes, but I thought we didn't want AGM to be too memey, so that's just some of them. But yeah, all right, next slide. Oh, Sandy can take over.
So this is the big new thing. So we've selected a mascot. I don't know if you guys have seen, but I think today we posted a comic on Facebook and Instagram. A huge shout out to not just Eliza, but like the entire creative team. It was like they all took time to make like drafts and everything, and like it took a while to actually just decide which one we wanted to go with. So this is like the big new thing that we're probably gonna like continue to have in the long term. And also the thing which I'm really excited for is that we've also have like an avenue for collaboration with marketing. For this particular comic, we reached out to the marketing directors and they got their subcom involved as well. And also the last point, we do have a plushie in the works, but please be patient. It's a new process, but that is something new that we're trying to produce. Hopefully we get it. Like it's currently in the very, very early stages of development, but we have the design completed in the top right. But that's all very new and all really exciting, and keep your eye out for more comics in the future.
Yeah. Thanks to Subcom, because they've been working really hard on this for the past term. So yeah, like the real congratulations or thanks should go to them.
Yes, and even like, and another thing, we have designs coming out for bucket hats and t-shirts, and the designs on the right. That's new. We're planning to release that soon. We're just a bit behind schedule in that regard, but otherwise, also we've done the face mask this year, and we also did the first year camp t-shirt, which we essentially do every year. Improvements, essentially starting the design process earlier. It's a bit new. We could have planned it a bit better, and we could have perhaps put out the event a bit earlier. But yeah, leading on to the meme competition, Gary.
Okay, yeah, so second event that we ran this year, you know, it used to be like one event, which is the design comp, but now we have a meme competition, which we actually stole from marketing. But yeah, so we actually had 30 submissions this year. And we had prizes, you know, I think last year it was like $35 or something, and I just checked that a random number, and now we have $100 prize pool, very cool. And we have so much more votes, I think. I don't know, I haven't been checking Facebook, but it might be the most reacted to post this year. I'm not actually sure. But yeah, so thanks to everyone who actually like submitted or voted. And yeah, we also have some memes there about me trying to get more money for the meme comp, and us getting apparently maybe too much money for the meme comp, since hoodie design was also more valuable. But yeah, that was it for meme comp. And shocking news. Oh, but yeah, so final thoughts, you know, so for 2022, we're really keen to see what happens with the mascot, and we can't wait to do some more collaboration, the rest of content like marketing and media. And we just want to say thank you again to our subcom, and that's some cute pics of us on our road trip and some other stuff, I think. Oh, that's actually all our road trip. Yeah, we did a lot in the road trip. Yeah, that's it from us. Oh, and yeah, so I said I thought there would be more memes, but there's only 2 memes there. because I thought it couldn't be too memey. But that's us when we had to create the design for camp. I don't know why Lachlan's saying oops. I think it turned out fine, but I just like making memes, and I was like, oh, I have to find something to like hit on. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. But yeah, that's
it's
it.
Never
For us.
too memey. It's never too memey when you run a meme competition, right? Okay, thank you, creative. Marketing report.
Hello. Okay, so I'm Edwina, one of the marketing directors, and Eddie will say a few words later. Next slide. Okay.
Next slide, please.
Thank you. So you might be wondering, what do we do? So as marketing, we handle the promotion of events, initiatives, and contents from all our amazing teams. We also create a brand and a personality for the society, increase the reach of CSESoc resources and content and events. We manage the social media platforms and aiming to increase like photography and video content. Yeah, and so we'll go through a few things that we did this year. So new in 2021, one of our goals was to do consistent branding and promotion, and also enhance and boost our online engagements. So the ways we have done this, or I've tried to do this, are through our Instagram revamp, Instagram Reels, video snippets, stories, weekly push, and a little bit of TikTok. And we'll go through these on the next slide.
Sorry.
Yeah. All good. Can you go back? Yeah. So Instagram revamp. In 2020, we did, I think, around 17 posts in the year, but in 2021, we have now like 40 plus posts, which is really cool. Our aim was to make 4 posts per week. So them being Media Monday, Wellbeing Wednesday, and the mascot comics coming soon from Creative, Flashback Friday, and Promo Sunday. Our goal with this was to kind of make more engaging content and kind of create a community on Instagram as well. Yeah, we hit also 500 followers recently, and as you can see the little diagram, we've increased our reach very greatly. There's been a spike in around September, October, which is cool. Cool. Another thing that we've tried to improve and increase this year was less posting on Facebook, like less spamming of people on Facebook. So we introduced the weekly push, which is basically just a weekly summary of the events that are coming up that week. And also utilizing stories. We found that stories were a good way to increase our reach. They're quick and easy, and people would just like swipe by them. And yeah, there are a few of our stories there. Also, 92% of people on Instagram said that the weekly push was helpful. So it shows that we're actually helping people out. And now I'll hand over to Eddie to talk more about.
Okay, so yes, I'm the other Eddie. So yes, one of the things we also did was Reels and TikTok. We were a bit late for both our Instagram and TikTok, just because I guess we're just out of fear we just didn't start earlier. So thing for next year would be to start earlier. But yeah, we made, I think, 4 TikToks since it's opened. We just started like last month, and I think they're pretty entertaining, I guess pretty interesting. The one that Kai is showing right now is just how to install ZSH, or my ZSH, which kind of makes your terminal look really cool. Most of our TikToks were produced by our subcom, except for one of them. Yeah, it was just, yeah, that's really it, honestly. Do we want to watch it or now? Yeah, so also other things we want to do with the Reels was also just do some throwback content. It was mostly just to build a community, and yeah, just overall increase, I guess, vibes, and just at least build just increase connection to our community, which by our promo and just random catch-ups content. Yeah, that was our pub crawl. And yeah. So next, please. We also did snippets. So yeah, thank you, Google. So also we didn't do many this year, sadly, because again, we were too late on posting content, but we did create 3 video workshop snippets and we found them really nice. Our goal was to make them really aesthetically pleasing and really easy for people to consume, just because by nature it's really easy. It's really hard to watch like a 2-hour workshop sometimes. So we kind of made small snippet videos so you can like, consume them when you want. And if you're really interested, you can watch the workshops. So yeah, next. And also send out just some stats overall. So for Facebook, we adjusted due to the general trend, like CSE increases every year. So we increased our following by 17.8%, which is 700 this year. We increased our reach dramatically. If you see on the right, there's some numbers. What it says on 2020, we got 120K reach, whereas this year our reach is 191K. So that's a 70K increase. And yeah, that's really it. I guess our shortfalls, like the points that we didn't do well in Facebook stats would be our react rates. So React likes, comments, blah blah blah. They're not really that great. I guess an increase would be that we're just providing more reaction type like content, like we did for our barbecue. I don't think we added a slide for that, but yeah. Next. For LinkedIn, we didn't touch it too much just because we were trying to be less spammy. So we thought maybe not just chucking LinkedIn, like just chucking random stuff on LinkedIn would be better. But that being said, we did get a decent amount of followers. We got 361. So now we're on 1,000 followers on LinkedIn, the only one with 1,000 followers, I think, besides every other platform. And yeah, our average visitors is surprisingly 125. I don't know, surprisingly 125, even though we don't post much. But that being said, it is still great that we have a community on LinkedIn. It's something we should push forward more. And our competitors right now is just CSESoc. So that's surprising, but yeah, we're actually beating Women in IT and SOC and DataSoc, which is, it's just surprising as well. Next. And yeah, this is just more on our whoopsies. Again, more on TikTok, more just being less scared. So just posting more on Instagram Reels and TikTok. Utilizing LinkedIn, producing more consumable contents, more interactive content like the React and comment stuff we did for a barbecue, asking for more individual feedback, improving cross-portfolio communication. There are a couple of times where we messed up on communication on items and just provided poor information. I guess this could be alleviated by just fixing our system of our processes, just because this time around we didn't have Trello, we're using Airtable, so our processes for posting and pushing out events was a little bit different. So more improvement on processes and communication would be better and less burnouts, because that process did cause a bit of burnout. And lastly, giving more ownership to Subcom, because we should have given them more work to do. But yeah, so yeah, this is all thanks to our actually lovely team. Everyone's looks really cool. I guess our one is like we have a drone shot from our road trip. Yeah. So if you can see, if you can pause it, it says CSESoc, and it says CSE in the sand. I'm sorry, it's a very poor attempt. It's like in the middle. You can see the massive C and the S, and then there's an E on the right. Yeah, CSE marketing, I think. Yeah. So yeah, so that's a thing. It's all thanks to lovely Subcom. Although we're directors, as directors, we're just taking care of our Subcom and letting us Subcom do all the work and actually carry us through this. So thank you to our Subcom. I think that's it. Thank you guys. Thank you for my TED talk. Now off to media.
Awesome. Yep. Hello. So I'm Jeannie, along with Ryan. We're the media directors for this year. There's quite a few memes incoming, courtesy of Ryan. So yeah, next slide. First of all, what is media? To put it simply, we're sort of just the content creators of CSESoc. To break that down, so we do podcasts, we do videos, we do articles, we do the first year guide, and this year we started Twitch streams. So across all of those platforms, what we just want to do is create entertaining and informative content to engage the community and get people talking. And also really just create a little time capsule of CSESoc student life and culture, just to figure out sort of like, just to record sort of what CSESoc was like in 2021. And another big thing is we really just want to be amplifying student voices and representing our community well. So, yeah, cool.
All right.
Ryan.
Yep. So vision, we wanted to foster a subcom that's skilled with creating content and also give them a lot of autonomy and creative control over their projects. We wanted media to be the go-to place for informative and entertaining content. So not just UNSW CSE students, but CSE students at any uni. Also lots of marketing, because last year media, not many people knew we existed, both internally and externally. So we really wanted to get people to know that we exist. And most importantly, prioritize the subcom experience. We want subcom to be having a good time, because if they're having a good time, then they create better content, and then that's better for media. Cool. Yep.
Yeah. And so, of course, we just want to start by with a massive shout out to our team. Mitchell, Amanda, Maria, Natalie, Keith, Subrat, Michelle, Caleb, Fiona, and Alex. And they're popping off in the chat. Yeah, so we're really proud of them. They've gone above and beyond this year. Next slide. So part of, I guess, like some of the things that we did to sort of like make the team experience as fun and as smooth as possible. So we've got this team Discord. So last year we used Slack and Messenger, but we found that with Discord, we've got this increased transparency because you've got those channels for all the different projects. So everyone can sort of see what each other is working on, and we can sort of be motivated by other people doing cool stuff, and anyone, even if you're on a different project, you can have input at any time. We also did we only do fortnightly official meetings, and then the alternating week is just like a chill hangout, or just like online games during lockdown. We started the year off with a road trip as well, which was really fun. Also got to do it was a bit of a training camp as well. We got some content shot there. And also just a reminder that we were the team that won the T2 internals weekly challenges. Yes. Okay, so to talk about podcasts. So with podcasts, it was like podcasts was like our main format last year because of COVID. And so this year, our big goal with podcasts is to make them more easily accessible. So we started doing video podcasts because we find that generally people like watching people talk. We started putting in timestamps so that you can jump around. So it's not as, I guess, intimidating when we have a 2-hour podcast. And also we've been making audio snippets. And then marketing has been really awesome with their Media Mondays, reposting our stuff on Instagram. And so just some quick, or you can read the stats, but basically they've been going well. So just with, even just on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts alone, we've had a 196% increase in unique downloads. Oh yeah, also can't forget a massive shout out to Careers for bringing us in all those industry guests. They're really popular with, they're just generally really popular, and I think a lot of people find them really interesting. And then just some notable podcasts we want to highlight. In June, we did for Pride Month, we did a Pride in Computer Science podcast that got published in the Turing Circle, which is the Australian Network for LGBTQ+ in STEM. And also I received a message from someone who told me that the video was really helpful for helping them decide to come out. So I think that's just for all we talk about in terms of diversity. I know we talk about it a lot. Shrey and Michael's been pushing it all year. But I think this was just a moment where it's like, yo, it really makes a difference in people's lives. And it really makes it worth it for us. We had a we have a podcast with Wargaming, which was live streamed to the Sydney Game Developers Group. We had a chat with our very own Kai, stories from a stranded international student. And we thought that was pretty good in terms of helping, sort of showing that connection with international students who've been stranded overseas for the last 2 years. Also, we had a live Q&A with StartMate and Canva's co-founder. So that was a really cool live stream. Thank you to Careers for getting us in touch with entrepreneurial society and getting that set up. I've talked about podcasts for enough now.
Cool. Yep. So videos. Yep. We released lots of videos. Just over 8K views. And yep, some notable videos. Odd Man Out was the fastest CSESoc video to reach 1K views. Mechanical Switch video is the most viewed YouTube video in 24 hours on our channel. Camp video is doing well. Spectrum is doing well. And yeah, our What is Comp Size Short has over 3,000 views on Instagram, which is awesome. Also, we have our Drunk Lico video, which we put the thumbnail in there, but it's not been released, but that's a preview of what's to come. And yeah, cool. That's it for videos.
Articles we haven't forgotten about articles. Obviously, the focus has more been on videos and podcasts this year, but quality, not quantity, when it comes to articles. So we've got 2 really good articles written by a subcom, and we got some outsourced articles as well. I think I saw Nick in this AGM at some point here at one, and we got another article by someone at Airwallex. Next slide.
Cool. Yep. So First Year Guide did really well this year, 75% increase in page views. We got more than double the amount of outsourced articles. And we also have a quiz to help uni students decide what type of student they are. And we also had a sort of a non-linear design. So we had this sort of choose your own adventure theme where people could just click on the different parts they wanted to go to. And yeah, if you hit next slide, Kai, there's like some nice screenshots. Thanks, Creative, for this sick banner. And then again, next slide, you've got all the cool articles we've got. Shout out to all the authors of all the cool articles that we got for the First Year Guide and the quiz that Jeannie made, which was very popular. Yep, cool, next slide.
All right, and last but not least, our Twitch streams, where we turn playing Valorant into legitimate media work. Oh, yep, shout out to Keith for making this awesome little loop that we've been using as like our loading screen. Yep, we can just let that play in the background. So yeah, we went from 0 followers to 78 followers. So I can't even say that's an infinity % increase, I guess. We reached eligibility for affiliate status. So we could monetize it if we wanted. I think the most awesome things we did were a couple of fundraising streams for the Sydney Children's Hospitals Foundation. So our first Minecraft stream, we raised $720, and we promised a hot tub stream with Ryan. We also did a Rocket League tournament recently and there were a bunch of like industry donors, people from like Atlassian and stuff who watched, so they donated a crap ton of money. That was like over 2.5K. And yeah, also some of these banners were actually being made by our subcom. So thank you to Creative for making some of them, but also thank you to Nat and Mitchell. I hope I didn't forget anyone who actually made one for us. Yeah. Yeah, and this was a donation from the Minecraft stream. Anyways.
Cool. Yep, so media wasn't perfect this year. Yeah, we talked about articles. We could have done more team upskilling. We had a lot more than last year, but there's still room for improvement. Yeah, diversity is a big one. So, you know, CSE at UNSW, such a diverse crowd. And I think we could have done a better job in getting more types of people. So we did a good job with the LGBT roundtable. We had Kai's international podcast, and we had like the Moving to Sydney podcast that was, no one on that podcast was from Sydney. So stuff like that was really great, but we want to do more of it, you know, get more female guests. With the Careers Pathway Guide, it would have been nice maybe if we had, from the start, when we talked to industry, asked them for more like diverse guests. And yeah, because like podcasts like the Kai's podcast and the roundtable, the LGBT roundtable, have done really well. So it shows that people really like diverse guests on our content. So definitely something for 2022 to work on, and it fits well with CSESoc's vision next year for like more diversity. And yes, more reach outside of UNSW because our content is relevant to any CSE student, not just UNSW. And yeah, for our first year guide, yeah, look, we stole some code from Clarence. But yeah, custom JavaScript on Ghost is like trying to eat soup with a fork. It just doesn't really work. But yeah, yeah, that's it for the oopsies.
Oh yeah, and still, this is just a taste of like stuff that our subcom is still working on, and very much ready to release over the by the end of this year, start into next year. We've got, so yeah, Drunk Leak Code should be the next one. We've got a bunch of podcasts with, yeah, just like different, so like doing a hackathon as a first year, or like, is CSE right for you? Aimed at high school students. I think we've taken up enough time, but yeah, very exciting. And also with the new media equipment, thank you, Jamin. I think we're definitely bigger and better content next year.
Thank you, media. Those were amazing content. Social directors.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, Evan.
Hey. Yeah. So I guess we're socials. We kind of pop out all the events that you see, and we do our best to interact and connect the entire CC community, usually through our hopefully fun events. Hopefully, we've seen you guys there before, before lockdown hit us. But with that said, there are a couple of things we want to talk about in the AGM. If you can move to the next slide. Yeah. So I guess like going to the year when we were directors, we had a couple of visions and goals. I'll just point out some of the things that we kind of wanted to achieve throughout our time here. So one of the biggest things was like, actually, I want to separate two things that the two like things that we wanted to work on. One was external, so kind of what we do as socials, sort of what the entire community and like everyone else and what you guys see, and also the internals, which is sort of our team. Because once again, like we do work as a team, as all of the other portfolios I mentioned, and we really want to focus on making a good team, because hopefully a good team means good events. But so I would start with the external stuff. So some of the society expression that we really wanted to work on this year was to really help create a distinct identity for CSESoc. And using this identity, we could help easily connect the community. So some of the things that we wanted to do to create this identity was like have a diverse and recognizable event, flagship events. So this could be our camp, our cruise, which was cancelled, Socktail, and a bunch of other events which we had in the pipeline. So with these events, we could have, it's really easy to tell what CC does and kind of like, yo, CC is running their flagship and annual event. Also, this also helps ease the workload of future directors, because like people have like a scheme and kind of know what to do and what to change, but going into the future. It also helps with improving marketing and as well as exposure. But as for all of these events, we wanted to help create a diverse range of events, adding more society collabs to help meet new people, not meet the same people every event, and sort of get a new perspective, not just see this whole see there's a whole new world, a whole wide world out there in uni. And finally, I guess for the internals, we really want to focus on like team bonding and creating a group of friends, because like we really wanted to work with a group of people who you also like to work with. With this said, we also wanted to create an interactive experience by helping the subcom like grasp brains, providing a mentorship to help them grow and progress and actually get ready for if they choose to become directors next year. But yeah, that's pretty much our vision and goals. And I'll pass it on to Lockton to talk about some of the stuff we did this year.
Yeah, so before we go on to, elaborating on all the stuff we did this year, I guess we can do it in a nutshell, 2021 in a nutshell. So we did smash out the whole entire term of term one. And the first half of term two, we also did smash a lot of events out. Most of our events we try to run in person. And obviously we can't do that because of COVID and lockdown, and kind of really dented our plans a bit. Some of the event plans that we did actually have in plan was such as like an inter-faculty cruise, an inter-faculty party with two, three, four other societies. So there were like massive plans that obviously we couldn't go through because of COVID. Pretty devastated about that. Online events, pretty much the thing right now what we're doing, and AGM, which is currently right now. Next slide, please. So before I go on, so a huge shout out to creative marketing for putting out all of our events. In particular, also shout out to careers as well for getting all the sponsorship money to run our events, as well as running a lot of collaborative events with sponsors as well. So these include the Arista Barbecue and the Prosper Trivia Night. And shout out to Felix for creating a lot of last minute banners as well. Next slide, please.
What's this? It's a video?
It's not a video. It shouldn't be a video.
Yeah, it's just a normal slide.
Yeah, just a normal. It should be.
Wait, wait, not I think you're ahead of one slide.
Yeah,
Is that meant to be a slide, or was that just loading?
There's a slide here.
Be a slide.
It's like our stats.
Oh, okay. I'm late. Okay, whoops.
All good.
It's slide 134 if you need help. Oh, you have it.
Yeah, so I guess we can go into our notable stats. Our biggest event by far would be camp, first year camp. We had a satisfaction rate of 8.9 out of 10, which was really good. We also had an increase of 90 in terms of feedback response, which is also really good because the previous year only had about 8 or so, which didn't really help us in terms of coming up with things to improve. But hopefully this will make next year's directors have kind of an insight into what to improve. We also had 2 postgraduates on camp, which is also a first for first year camp. Our pub crawl in collaboration with DGSoc and UMCG. Both rounds sold out in under 10 minutes due to limited capacity, of course, but still shout out to marketing for putting that campaign out. Our barbecues, which is what we're probably primarily known for. We had about 100 people on average at each barbecue, including our very big welcome back barbecue, which we tried to make things a little bit different because we wanted it to be somewhat special because it was the start of term. We had about 400 people turn up to that and about 118 page likes on that one single day, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner. That spike was due to our welcome back event. In addition, we also, as what Evan elaborated on, was collaborating with different societies. And this year we collaborated with 20 different societies, and these range from the engineering societies that you know of, to sports science, and even to consulting. And lastly, we did spend a lot of money, and that was outlined in the Treasurer's Report. Next slide, please. All right, for some challenges and improvements, obviously we had to run most of our events through the uncertainty of COVID. With that being said, we could have planned a lot better in terms of, having the possibility of lockdown. So, maybe next year, the directors should be planning in terms of possibility that a lockdown might happen. Definitely run more hybrid events from the start and definitely run more online events, even though the scope is pretty limited. In the given time, we would like to train our subcom more. Again, we couldn't really do that because of we didn't have that many online in-person events. Also wanted to run a larger variety of events. We only ran like a hike. We tried to run an arcade event, didn't really go through because of COVID. And we also wanted to cater for a larger event, a larger range of CSE students. What we did accomplish, however, was we did expose the society in a good light to a lot of people who didn't really know about us. We also diversified our events. Well, we tried to in where we could. And we did facilitate a really good team bonding between our team. And here's a meme regarding Camp 2.0. Next slide, please.
All right. I guess so. Speaking of our team, this was our team. So aside from myself and Lachlan, who were the social directors, we had a team of 9 underling subcoms. This is all of them. Probably the most flattering photos they'll get. But moving on, so we'll just talk a little bit about them. Could you? Yep. So I guess about this team, it legitimately felt like feel like parents raising children. We definitely do not want to. I definitely don't want children in the future. Well, at least the foreseeable future after this. It was really painful, but it was actually a crazy journey, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Like I remember the first time we actually talked to them. Seriously, it was a prank call. We prank called them to a prank interview, which you can see on the side on the right. That was actually their induction slide. They had to go through that process to get into subcom. Actually, not really, but we made them believe they had to. But yeah, I guess to see these guys grow was actually an incredibly rewarding experience, and it was really fun to see these strangers become really good friends, and these guys eventually became our own team. It wasn't just this team; it was a group of people who we all wanted to work with one another, and together we're able to pump out some pretty crazy events. And I guess lastly, we just want to say thank you to you guys, and we couldn't have done it all. I might even consider having children Actually, no. Sorry about that. Yeah, I guess with that said, we'll probably go to the next slide. And yeah, I guess this is us signing off, but instead of writing any dot points or us being said, we thought it might be easier just to show a video. Would you ever see if that works?
That's my Chrome extension, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, it's loading.
I hear it.
Don't think you wrote. I should disable it.
Can you restart it maybe?
Oh. Oh wait, there.
All right, yeah. Can you...
I'm restarting it. Okay, there we go. Let's go.
So yeah, this is media, I guess.
Okay, is it really laggy? Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe send a link in the chat and people can look at it in their own time.
Well, anyways, that was a really laggy overview of all of the events we ran. I don't know if we want to show that or anything like that. I guess yeah. Not sure what we want to do. I guess we'll just move on. We don't want to take up too much time, but we created a video sort of like showcasing some of the events we did. A little bit of hype. Yeah, I guess you guys can check it out if you guys want to. It's short 30 seconds. Yeah, cheers. That's socials.
All right, thanks, socials. Oh,
hello.
I'm sorry. Okay, there we go.
Cool.
See that. Sorry.
So, along with me and Jules, we were the student experience directors for this year, and I know you guys are probably zoned out, so we'll do you guys a favor and keep it really short. So, our original name was Student Network, and we did change it to Student Experience, and you're probably wondering why. So, Network kind of didn't portray the right vibe we were going for. Like, network was a bit of a career-focused word, right? So if you have a look at our events, you can see that we actually do a lot for education, such as study workshops and revision workshops. And we also do a lot of outreach. So for example, Pride in Engineering and the Postgrad Guide, and also international students, which we cater for in the peer mentoring. So let's go to peer mentoring. Next slide. Yep. Sorry, that might be why you guys are lagging. You're lagging because of all the video pictures. But pretty much this year we had 383 mentees and 104 mentors, with each group having 2 mentors and 8 to 9 mentees per group. So compared to last year, this was a 35% increase. And with international students, we had an increase of 230%. And this can be attributed to lockdown ending in 2020 and people being more engaged to participate in things, and also improved marketing strategies. And we were able to get those international students that we previously haven't been able to before. With that, we also got a completely entire postgrad group for peer mentoring, and that was pretty cool to get. So unlike last year where a script failed and people randomly chose their groups on the day, we actually had a strategy to arrange people into groups. So if a student was doing a double degree, we would explicitly pair them with a peer mentor doing the same double degree, and that way they would be able to get a proper mentor, so that they would have someone to talk to about regarding their unique degree plan. And along with their entire group of the same double degree students, they would also be more likely to stay friends and take the same courses throughout their degree. So out of the 44 groups, 27 of them were specialized for double degree students. We also had 2 groups specialized for bioinformatics, 2 for computer engineering, and 1 for postgrad master in engineering, master in IT. And all of those we historically hadn't provided tailored experience for in our peer mentoring program. So with that said, we had 80% of groups meet up at least 3 times, and 73% of those groups use their fund budget of $10 per head. So that's a pretty good statistic to show lots of participation, and it was a successful program. So on to the next slide, please.
Oh, stop trying.
Cool. So for student experience, our portfolio also caters for what other societies would call the education portfolio. So while we do have a workshops portfolio that caters for education outside of courses, of course, there are still some core courses that students are going through, and we would like to help support them throughout their journey in that course. So we've identified the 3 main courses that all computer science students go through, and that is Comp 1511, Comp 1521, and Comp 2521. So for Comp 1511, we collaborated with Women in IT to do a workshop with Mark Chi. Our projects director, Zach, kindly volunteered himself to give a talk through MIPS during the middle of term 2 last time. And then we collaborated with workshops to hold a 2521 competition so that it wasn't like a boring revision workshop. It was like a more interactive way for people to, implement the skills that they learn in that course. For each of those events, we also created notes, revision notes, summary notes. And, if you went full screen, you wouldn't see how poorly laid out these pictures were. But the first one for Comp 1511 was cut out with Creative. Thank you very much for that. And you probably didn't realize the last 2 were done by us because the quality remained the same, if not better. So Creative was a bit overloaded, and we took it upon ourselves to continue this initiative due to the feedback that we received. For this term as well, in term 3, go back. So we still we have a study powers initiative this term, and we really didn't want to do a Comp 1521 because that was more a group project based course. So we wanted to create a new initiative to get people to study together. And currently we have a competition within that program to post the most creative study snack, and winner gets $25 Uber Eats voucher with the top 5 teams actually. And you're wondering how we got all that money, and it's because we got a $1,000 grant from ARC to support us in this program. Cool. So I'm going to pass it to Jules to talk about outreach.
Yeah, so as Hayes mentioned, one of the big things Studex does is outreach and diversification of our community. So yeah, we wanted to make more events that supported diversity in CSE. And as part of this, we had a high tea plan in person, which did get pushed to online. If you want to sign up, you can go to our Facebook and find the event link there. But we will be doing a virtual high tea and mailing everybody little care packages that attend. So yeah, that's a collab with 3 other engineering societies, a bunch of industry reps from our CSESoc sponsor pool, but also from like inter-engineers and engineer societies that are like beyond UNSW. So that'll be cool. And that's coming up soon. We also had the newbie CTF with CSESoc, which was one of our aims to get people involved in security, which is an area that, if you don't try it out on a very beginner level where there's not actually that many resources out there already for, it's hard to get introduced to. Yeah, CSESoc is cool. You should check it out. Yeah, so we had 100% of participants who wanted to participate in another CTF after participating in the newbie one. So that was really exciting. And great feedback from that too. Cool. We've also got, sorry, this is on the slide for one more sec. Yeah, the newbie coding comp coming soon. Keep your eyes peeled around week 7. You don't need to know any algorithms for that one. So first years in particular, it'll be great for you to try your very first coding comp. And the postgrad guide, it's pretty much the first year guide, but for postgrads, we wanted to cater more for postgrads and beyond just undergrads as well, which is something CSESoc hasn't done much in the past. So that will be coming out very soon as well. We also have been working on a huge project this term. Well, not really us, but our subcom. We taught our subcom React and JavaScript in like 1 week. So that was part of our upskilling process. We really wanted to make sure subcom came out of this, not just with like skills on building events, but also some technical skills that would be quite transferable. So it was based on an idea we had last year So shout out to Ollie in the previous subcom. We were writing an elective guide, but we realized that it was kind of like there was so much changing all the time with so many comp electives, as you all know. So we thought we needed something a bit more dynamic and something that a lot of students could contribute to and could kind of live on year to year without requiring much update. So we invented CSE electives. And yeah, if you want to show the demo video, I don't know if it'll play, but it's very cool. Nathan, one of our subcom, made it.
This works. Yes.
Welcome to CS Electives, enhancing your student experience. It's under development, but have a look at our MVP that we hope to release by the end of the year. It currently has a backfilled database using the reviews we received through a survey we released earlier this year. You can filter and browse through all courses CSE has to offer, including not just comp courses, but Seng, design and BIM courses too. Each card has a summary of it, and clicking on it takes us to the course page. Each course page has data scraped from the handbook, kindly provided to us by the CSESoc Circles projects team. On the right, you can see a list of existing reviews already, which are sortable by time or rating. To submit a review, you have to first log in using your UNSW credentials. This is to ensure that you are a UNSW student and are eligible to write a review. When submitting a review, you must provide an overall rating and more ratings for more granular categories, such as enjoyment, usefulness, and manageability, as well as leaving down when you took the course. It's optional to write a comment, but we recommend that everyone leaves their own personal experience to help other students decide whether they should prioritize taking this course for their degree. That's our MVP. Future features include integrations with CSESoc Circles project so that degree planning by course exploration and course reviews are a seamless integrated experience. We also are looking into integrations with Reddit so that all course reviews uploaded there can be viewed from our website too.
Yeah, so that project should be released by the end of the year. Massive thanks to our subcom. They've put in literally all the hard work for that. So yes, thanks. And yeah, the last slide's just
welcome to CS Select.
Last slide.
Next slide. Yep. That's just our team when it decides to show. Yes. So yeah, Hayes and I wouldn't have been able to do what we did this year without them. Studex has literally doubled its events and its participation. So yeah, we really broke down a lot of barriers this year and helped a lot of people. So thanks heaps to our subcom.
Thanks. Studex. Internals, Andy. Yay. Hey, Andy. Oh, you muted.
Andy, yeah, there you go.
Hello. I can't see myself, so maybe I look awful. I don't know. I'm on mobile, so hopefully I think you can see my face.
Look great.
Hello. So we have 5 minutes. I'll make this short. So let's go to the next slide. Yeah. So if you weren't aware, internals is just taking care of a lot of the internal CSESoc team things. So if you're not inside like subcom or director or exec, you might not know me, but I sometimes pop up on the Discord. So yeah, pretty much what I did this year was just kind of be the social directors for people inside CSESoc so that they would actually remember it and want to like maybe continue enjoying stuff that CSESoc puts out in future years. So I did some things like just social events, being a professional Discord moderator, you're my kittens, and I handled subcommittee recruitment and provided the platform for interportfolio activities. So that was just a slide from one. Anyway, let's go on to the next slide. So I was asked to put memes in and I used this one. And I know this isn't how you use the template, but everyone already used all the other templates I thought would be suitable. So that's the meme. Let's go to the next page. Cool. So some of the things that I took care of with a lot of help from everyone else this year were things like subcommittee recruitment, induction, just hanging out with directors. She didn't reference my material. That's true. Shout out to like mostly socials for that one. And we also had weekly challenges, just things to get like CSE portfolio bonding every week in term 2, which is a lot of fun. Shout out to media for winning that one. We also had just game nights, including competitive Wikipedia bingo, which I hope I'm going to put that in the handover Confluence so that that gets continued across next year's team. Anyway, we also had a trivia night and one coming up on Thursday. So if you haven't heard, you should come to that. And yeah, competitive PowerPoint slides making and really good Kahoots, where we learn things like Ryan thought he could beat me in Super Smash Brothers, which is just false. Anyway, let's move on to the next slide. Awesome. So, so to the upcoming internals director, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun to be able to do these things. You have the opportunity to just, you know, choose what you like to do and, you know, enjoy it with the team. And you also get to take an input from everyone else. And you don't have to think as much as some other teams about, like, you know, like historically, because there's only been me so far, or like things about like sponsors or anything. So it's a lot of fun. But I would say that I can improve. I could have improved a lot, and you should, by increasing like the rate of output and engagement with everyone, doing a better job at subcommittee recruitment, and taking more pictures. I didn't take many pictures, but good thing Clarence took a few in the first time we did for the induction. So yeah, that's another meme. I spent too much time playing Wikipedia bingo, and then yeah, you can read it. Spend less time Wikipedia bingo. No, let's go to the next slide. Yeah, so just some goals were to make CSESoc feel like a place where all the team members feel like they've achieved a lot and that they've managed to like be able to communicate with both like work. So I guess as in communication between different teams is a lot easier this year, I think, as subcommittee could just speak to each other. And yeah, mainly my biggest goal is to set up an awesome start for the next internals director, which I hope I would have done if you enjoyed your time in CSESoc. So that's just some screenshots from Discord. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, so this is it. Just a special shout out to all the teams. We had an activity where we just made our own Discord emotes for each team. So it was really quite nice to see all that. Shout out to Internals Task Force. Where's socials? You're hidden behind the CSESoc logo there. And Evan, the director from socials, was setting up our awesome Discord. That was just great. And media for winning weekly challenges. So yeah, thank you everyone.
Ooh,
that should be it.
Thank you, Anthony, and thank you to our lovely team of directors and subcom. I move that we accept the director's report as a whole.
Seconds.
Are there any objections? Cool. Motion has passed. Cool. So we are going to go a bit over time, given it is now 8 o'clock, but we're literally in the last few slides, so we're almost there. Next up is constitutional amendments. So Kai, if you could open the link that Michael just sent in the in the chat, that'd be great. Not that one. Or just go to CSESoc GitHub.
If I can copy. Okay, this one goes.
Cool. Cool. So there are currently five different amendments. So the first one we'll look at is the CSE delegation provision. For context, the current constitution states that only elections run by the CSE will be recognized. Currently, the school CSE does have power to delegate, but it is not explicitly written inside a constitution. So we've just made the choice to explicitly write this down for future reference, so there's no confusion. Kai, if you just open it up and show the changes.
First one?
Yeah, first one.
Okay.
Just to go to files changed, so there's literally all it is a clause that the school CSE may nominate a person they think is fit to manage the election. If they do so, that person should set the election, calculate the votes, and transmit them to the school CSE. So I move that we accept this amendment to the Constitution. Thank you, Tom, for seconding. Any objections? Cool. Motion pass. All right, number two. Number two is election nominations. Tom wrote this. Essentially,
you want me to speak to it?
Yes, you can speak to it, Tom.
Look, it's a bit complicated, but basically at the moment there are some holes in how the election procedure works, and having dealt with CSESoc elections 2 years in a row, it just is really worrying when you get to the position where you're like, maybe we won't know who's supposed to win, or maybe we'll have to like message the person and ask them stuff. So this just explicitly says basically you have to provide preferences, and there's now an algorithm in the in the Constitution that just explains how we allocate votes. It's the algorithm we used this time as well. We didn't really need to worry about it too much, but basically it just sets it out for future.
Yep. So essentially it fixes all the random edge cases that may exist. So I'll give it a bit. Essentially, nominations must be entered and seconded by 2 full members, one of whom must be the nominee. That's already there. Nominations must be ordered by preference. So as we already had this year, when you're submitting a nomination, you must include your preference. In the case of no member being nominated for the position of grievance officer, note at this point in time, the Jedi officer does not exist. So this constitution refers to the grievance officer.
That one about in no case of no member being nominated is deleted in a different amendment.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So that's only there because there are 2 amendments going on at the same time.
Yeah. Votes, the voting calculation is essentially the algorithm that Tom talked about. So if you can scroll down a little bit, Kai, which essentially removes all single edge cases, and there's an explanation there. If you'd want to read it, I think maybe we'll give it. I mean, we've sent this out in advance. So are there any objections to this amendment to the CSESoc Constitution? Oh wait, yeah, I move that we accept this amendment to the CSESoc Constitution.
I'll second it.
Are there any objections? What is the coverage?
Coverage.
Cool. No objections. So it looks to be good.
Okay.
Right. The third one, StuReps. So we've gotten lucky for the past couple of years that the StuReps happen to be members of CSESoc executives. This may not always be the case, and it should be written down formally that StuReps and CSESoc should be nice to each other and talk to each other and help each other out, as they essentially serve 2 different arms of the same sort of aim. So essentially, this just adds a clause in the Constitution saying CSESoc must endeavor to retain a memorandum of understanding with StuReps in order to maximize student engagement and satisfaction. I move that we accept this amendment.
Second.
Any objections? Cool. Motion accepted, passed, same thing. Cool. CompClub. As Evan and Haley and I have already talked about, CompClub is splitting off. As with StuReps, we're adding a clause in the Constitution that must remain a memorandum of understanding. We've also added, if you go to the file has changed, currently the school CSE is committed funding for future years for CompClub, but this may not always be the case. So we've added a little note here that if there are exceptional circumstances and CompClub is without funding, CompClub may request an amount of money in writing to the CSESoc executives at the time. So it also states that CompClub will be affiliated with CSESoc. So essentially how this looks like is that there will be CSESoc Incorporation, under which there is CSESoc Society, and then CSESoc CompClub, which is a bit tricky to think about, but that's the plan. I move that we accept this amendment.
Shrey,
yes.
Does this include the provision that we were talking about with ARC having to approve stuff, or did you guys decide not to include that?
No, because that didn't need to be in our Constitution, as we talked about.
I thought that had to be part of our Constitution.
We can talk about that.
Okay.
We can talk about it afterwards. Yeah.
Well, all right.
Because we don't have in our Constitution, I think, as we discussed, and if we do, we can just add it to an AGM later. Cool. Cool. So I move that we accept this current Constitution, and if there are additional ones, we'll hold an AGM.
I second.
Cool. Any objections? Cool. No one hates CompClub. Moving on. The last one, adding a Jedi officer. Essentially, we've tried to push on equity, diversity, inclusion to everything that we do this year, but because it's not a dedicated position, it sometimes sort of falls back on top of our other sort of duties that the executives have. So we would like to merge this into its own position with the grievance officer to A, increase the number of executives so that we have more hands on deck, and B, actually have equity, diversity, inclusion as an actual role. So somebody is the owner of that sort of initiative.
So just noting that Jedi refers to grievance, equity, diversity, and inclusion. The grievance officer role, as it already is in the Constitution, is required by ARC. EDI is not, but it's highly recommended. The actual text for the duties of EDI officer ripped verbatim from the model Constitution provided by ARC. So that's all that text.
Yeah. So this pull request is essentially just adding that we have it. Yeah.
And the other thing to mention is the requirement that previously an exec can hold simultaneously an exec position plus grievance officer, like Shrey is now. this removes that, so that there must be 6 execs, and that is exactly 6 execs. So, yes.
Yeah, we struggle with
I'm-
5 this year, and other teams have struggled with 5 in the past. So
move that we
yeah
accept this motion, this amendment.
Second.
Any objections?
Cool.
No. Okay.
All right. And that's the AGM. Thanks. No, just kidding. All right. So one last thing, which is what is a big thing for everyone. I think this is the last thing that we have in the agenda today. Well, second last thing, I guess, is election results. Yeah. So election results first up. Did someone say something? No? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So election results. So the way this is going to work, for reference, is that there are several nominees for each position. Essentially, we will go from the order of, let's see. The order.
Jedi Officer, ARC Delegate, Secretary, Treasurer, Co-Presidents, and Co-President.
Yeah. And when you are elected, you have to say that you accept the role, and then we have to move that you accept the role. I think it's really weird. If you are not interested in taking the role as it stands, you are feel free to say that you are not willing to accept the role, in which case I think Tom is on standby to recalculate the votes. And if not, then we can organize something else.
If it helps, you only need to move to accept once.
Oh, for everything? Okay, we'll do it at the end then. Awesome, that makes life easier. Cool, so yeah, so just to be clear, if you don't feel like taking the position, that's totally okay. Don't feel pressured that we're in a meeting. We have other ways to get around this. We can recalculate stuff. So with that being said, Michael, do you want to start us off with the judge?
Sure. So the first position is the Jedi Officer, that is the Grievance, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Officer. And that's the winner of that election is Sandeep Das. So Sandeep, do you accept that position?
I accept.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you, Sandeep. The second position that we'll be talking about is the ARC Delegate position. The ARC Delegate, I want to say winner, but it's not really an award. Is there a right word for it? Okay, the ARC Delegate for 2022 has been voted to be Haley Gu. Haley, do you accept?
I accept.
Awesome. Thank you, Haley.
Cool. And the results for the election of Secretary is Hayes Choi. Hayes, do you accept?
I accept.
Cool.
Awesome. Moving on to Treasurer. The Treasurer for 2022 is nominated to be Colin Hahn. Colin, do you accept?
I accept.
Cool.
Cool. And
drum roll.
No particular order. Because there's two. One of the results of the election for the co-presidents is Juliana DeBus. Juliana, do you accept?
Yes, I accept.
Cool. And lastly, the other co-president for 2022 is Lachlan Ting. Lachlan, do you accept?
I accept.
Awesome. In that case, I move that we accept the new 2022 executives consisting of Juliana DeBellis, Lachlan Ting, Hayes Choi, Colin Hahn, Haley Gu, and Sandeep Das. Someone want to second it?
I second.
Thank you, Clarence. Any objections? This is where it gets spicy. Cool, no objections. That would have been fun. Cool. In that case, motion has passed. We now move on to any other business. Is there any other business that wants to be raised?
We do have one thing to do, which is do the bank secretaries, but we just have to sort that out.
Now? Does that have to be a motion?
I believe so. It has to be in the minutes, right?
Oh,
Someone
okay.
correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, in this case, this is a really fun, quick conversation. Colin, Juliana, and Lachlan.
There's a slides afterwards if you want to use up.
Okay. Michael, do you want to make the group chat with them and discuss that real quick? And I'll talk about. All right. So, any other business? Is there any other business that people want to talk about in the meantime while we sort out signatories? Really quick.
Dividends.
Dividend report we sent out in 2097. No, unfortunately, dividends. So we have a graveyard though of some fun memes while we stall for time. Essentially, what's going to happen is we need to figure out who's going to be the the signatories for the bank, and we need to get it on the AGM minutes, because if we don't, then CommBank will sue us and they won't let us actually use the bank account.
And the rules are that it must be the treasurer and 2 execs chosen by the current execs.
Yeah. So in the meantime, Kai, can you play the graveyard?
Yeah.
Very cute meme. We get called out, but it's worth it. Oh yeah, this is funny. So our April Fools was like a really good thing, where we pretended that we were shutting down the Discord to go to Slack, and Hayden messaged somebody saying, "Why are we going back to Slack? What's going on?" And he missed the whole, this is a April Fool's joke. So I think that we have signatories sorted.
Move that Colin Hon, Lachlan Ting, and Juliana DeBellis are the big signatories.
I second it. Any objections? Cool. And yeah, this is Jarman having a freak out last night because the budgets weren't matching up by $1.44. But that turned out we were just miscalculating the interest on the bank account. So that was fun. Cool. In that case, I move that I declare the meeting to be over at 8:14 p.m. Monday, 18th October. Thank you all for coming. Congratulations on new executives. If you could please stay on as well, we'll have a quick chat. But yeah, thanks so much, everybody. We'll hopefully come to the project showcase, come to other events, etc.
Thanks for the whole year.
Thanks for the
everyone.
great year. Yes. Thanks to all the subcommon directors who worked so hard over the course of 2021.
And thanks for being here for the whole 2 hours and 15 minutes.
And 159 slides. We got there.